Hi, my name is Peter Dubow, and I'm the principal tuba of the Virginia Symphony Orchestra. And it's my pleasure today to introduce our upcoming soloist. It's a rare and unique thing to have a brass soloist on one of our classical concerts here. And it's even more rare and unique for that soloist to be a tuba player. So it's appropriate to have as our soloist the completely rare and unique Carol Jantsch, who is just a fabulous musician, an incredible player, and I'm totally excited to hear her perform live on a new work written by Wynton Marsalis. And to kick off this thing today, we wanted to get a little background information from you about your music education, your journey to this point in your career, and so you and the tuba, how'd you guys meet?
Hi Pete, thank you so much for your super nice introduction. I'm so excited to play with you all. It's going to be a blast. So maybe the rapid version of my history with music. My mom forced me to play piano when I was 6. I picked up euphonium when I was 9 because I wanted a weird and different instrument. I didn't want what all the other kids were playing, and just sort of graduated to the tuba when I was 12. Didn't get real serious until I went to Interlochen Arts Academy for high school. Did that for 3 years, went to the University of Michigan for college, and won my job with the Philadelphia Orchestra my senior year there. So there you have it.
Hello, my name is Will Quinn, and I play tuba at Hickory High School. I have 2 questions for you. They're a little different. The first one is, did you play any other instruments before you started playing tuba, and do you play any other instruments now? And the second one is, what is your favorite piece that you've played in the past few years?
Hey Will, thanks for your question. So I did mention that I did play piano as a kid. I'm trying to bring it back now. It's a little painful because it's been like 20 some years, but having fun with it. In college, I also played an instrument called the carillon. And if you don't know what that is, it's actually the bell tower, right? So you have kind of like an organ keyboard, but instead of keys, there's like broom handles sticking out that you punch with your fists and then also use your feet on. It's a really fun instrument to play, but also very intimidating because when you play it, everyone on campus can hear you, anyone in like a mile radius. And so if you mess up, everybody knows. As far as favorite piece that I've played recently, of course the pandemic has limited the amount of repertoire we've gone through, but Philadelphia Orchestra has done a lot of work with Florence Price's symphonies, and I have to say she writes really good tuba parts, so that's my answer there.
Hi, I'm Abby Russell. I go to Salem High School, and I was wondering what the hardest part about playing tuba has been to overcome.
Hey Abby, thanks for your question. I think one of the hardest things about the tuba is just how exhausting it can be, right? You're just going through so much air so quickly. It's really cardiovascularly challenging. So ways I've learned to deal with it, I mean, it helps to be in good shape, so actually doing your cardio is good. But the way I think of breathing efficiency is actually in 3 parts. I'm not only trying to get as efficient an inhale as possible, right, as quick, as much air in as quick as possible, but I'm also trying to utilize the air that I spend as efficiently as possible, so I'm not wasting any air on a fuzzy sound or fuzzy articulation or anything. And then the third thing is planning. Planning when you're gonna breathe is really crucial for an instrument like the tuba and can make or break a musical statement, right? So if you place your breaths in a way to support what you want to say with the music, rather than the other way around. Sometimes I see a lot of students who have been told, oh, you have to play 2 bars in a breath or whatever, you have to play really long phrases in one breath. But if doing that makes you not sound good, then don't do that, right? So yeah, breath, like taking nice big breaths, using that breath wisely, and then breathing in places that make sense with the music and then support what you want to do. It's a lot to think about, but it's probably the most important thing to consider.
Hi, Carol. I have a couple questions for you. What is it like to work directly with a composer to create a new work and to specifically work with Wynton Marsalis?
I mean, what can you say about Wynton Marsalis? You know, to have one of the most famous musicians of all time writing a concerto specifically for me, it's just such an honor that I can't even describe it in words. I'm just so thrilled that he didn't say no. I credit my persistence in talking him into it because I brought it up when the Philadelphia Orchestra was playing his violin concerto a few years back. And he was, you know, kind of chumming it up with the brass section during that week and said something nice about my playing. And I said, oh, yeah, so tuba concerto's next, right? And he didn't say no. So I followed up like crazy until this thing, till he, I don't know, I guess it wore him down. And so now this piece is really happening and I couldn't be more thrilled. Yeah, as far as working with a composer, I've done it before. I worked with Michael Daugherty on his concerto called Reflections on the Mississippi. And everybody has their own style. With Michael, I was at his studio for 5 and 6 hours at a time, playing through sketches that he had written down. And with Wynton, it's more like phone calls and stuff because he's so busy and on the road. But yeah, he's just such a thoughtful musician and nice person, and I'm so glad that he took time out of his crazy touring artistic director, everything, guy doing everything schedule to write a tuba concerto. So it's gonna be worth it.
Hello, my name is Jack Heath from the Governor School, and my question is, what persistent problems did you have over your high school years, and how did you overcome them?
Hey Jackie, thanks for your question. If I'm in high school, I would have to say my biggest problem is rushing. I was always wanted to get through everything as fast as possible and would end up with time that rolled forward, if you will. I think there's something to maturing as a player to enjoying the slower music, yeah, I was definitely not there in high school. The biggest thing that helped was just a lot of concerted metronome work. My high school teacher taught me how to practice with the metronome on the offbeat so that you have to place the beat where you want it. So you're participating with the metronome rather than just letting it tell you where the beat is. So I find that to be incredibly effective. I've used it for the past 20 some years since then, and I teach it to all my students. So yeah, try playing with the metronome on the offbeat if time is an issue, and yeah, it'll get better, I promise.
Hey Carol, this is Rod Martell, bass trombonist with the Virginia Symphony Orchestra. All the brass players in the orchestra are super excited about working with you very soon. And I would like to know if you have any funny stories to tell about you and your tuba.
Funny stories about the tuba, huh? Yeah, so at international tuba conferences, there used to be an event called the tuba throwing competition. And when I was 16, I was at the ITEC in Lahti, Finland, land of lakes. And so the tuba throwing competition there was at the end of a dock, and you threw this beat up old tuba, not playable, we're not throwing good instruments around, you know. They plugged it with styrofoam and then you threw it into the lake. So it floated, and then it was attached to a rope, so however far you reeled it back in was how far you threw it. That's how they measured it. So I watched everybody who went before me in the competition, and I was noticing that the people who threw it the furthest actually followed the momentum of the horn into the water themselves. So yeah, that means I jumped in the lake with the tuba, and because I was the only woman who was willing to jump into the lake, I guess, I won the women's division of the tuba throwing competition at the 2001 Tuba Euphonium Conference.